October 2013, John Warner made a successful Kickstarter and a release in 2014 pushed video games as a medium. Fall is a 2D sci-fi game, a puzzle and action-based game. In the fall, Eric crash lands on a mysterious planet and you play as Eric. You learn that some of the abilities don't work, but Joseph, the pilot, is unresponsive. Without the human, Eric can't get the ability. They're manipulating objects. You go to the elevator and on the right and you see a turret. You walk by it, but Eric not having camouflage, but only if Eric can bypass the lock. Unable to go to the left until you see an elevator. Then you see a room get interrogated by another robot and it harms Eric, but Eric gains his networking abilities. In a self-defense move, a crane is moved by Eric to protect Joseph, and Eric learns by harming the suit it can be overwritten to bypass the internal lock. With this knowledge, I saw the same robot following me. I continued forward and saw the turret being activated by me, but the cloaking ability is learned. Then Eric has a conflict to protect the pilot, but to protect the pilot, Eric must harm but breaks the laws of robotics. You continue forward and then you find a room and then you talk to an operator. The caretaker talks about the rule breaking, but Eric's rules are based on the laws of robotics, so it can't lie, and it also must protect Joseph. Speaking of which, the combat isn't that great, but what it lacks in combat it makes up in world building, finding notes that tells player a story that's untold in the game. This game has a horror atmosphere. I found it to be interesting. Instead of a jump scare, it builds up. Oh yeah, right, the game. Well, Eric is tasked to take care of the family, and the task is to clean the dust, decorating the room, and feeding the child, and to stop a baby from crying. To clean the dust, you grab a shoe cover to cover the camera to cheat. For decorating the room, you must place a flower from the kitchen to the living room. Unfortunately for the player, they don't have the right color, so the gravity chute to depurpose robot doesn't work on Eric because it's too heavy. There's a crying baby test that Eric doesn't know how to deal with, so I went to the bottom floor to hurt a slug to collect its juice, then go upstairs to pour the juice on the mushroom and go back to the attic, and then a mushroom defense gets strong enough to move the lift towards the baby test. Remember the dust test? Well, take that cover off and go to the baby test and go back to the dust, and the lift will silence the baby according to the test. After passing the domestic task, then Eric is tasked to do the civic test. But wait, there's a catch-22. Eric can't lie to the sober guy, but Eric must lie to pass. So the spoiler warning, if you want to hear the rest of the video, then continue. So the caretaker mentions that Eric cheated and Eric denies to cheating, but the caretaker gives Eric advice that you can override the final test. You get to question him, but later he leaves. You go to the room and then the mainframe questions why, and Eric answers. The mainframe says not to trust the caretaker, but Eric, wanting to protect Joseph, continues down and then give more power to the room. Eric must flood the robots in the background, and then the mainframe says, and I wonder, is it all worth it just for one human life? After unflooding and clearing the slugs, I went down to the laboratory. Eric wants to override the last test, but the caretaker betrays Eric. The mainframe was updated to the latest software, and then it was sad for me to see the mainframe go. I grew to like him, so I wanted revenge. Followed the caretaker and then beat him. After the fight, caretaker breaks Eric, and Eric is able to misrepresent reality. Go to the sober guy and lie to him, and then you get all 8 merit points, and then you have access to the medical room. The ending of the fall, Eric goes to the medical room and the mainframe scans Eric, but it says that there's no human in the suit. Eric thinks it's lying and you accuse it of lying, but the same rule that used to bind Eric now binds the mainframe, and then Eric takes off the helmet and nothing binds Eric. Then the player sees a message to be continued as shown, but it will continue.